Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today I want to talk about Kevin Holland's recent appearance on the JAXXON podcast, where in my opinion he made a complete and total fool of himself for at least, the first 20 minutes or so. Now eventually things chilled out a bit, but a lot did get said in those first 20 minutes, and I think it's a good display of some things that myself and many others have been saying about Kevin Holland for quite some time, which is one, that he's pretty sensitive, okay, maybe overly sensitive, and also that he oftentimes copes about his career, pretending like he doesn't really care about fighting or the results or winning a belt or anything like that. He talked a whole bunch of shit to Rampage in some, a very weird passive aggressive way, and like I said, we've got some cope mixed in there as well. Just all around weird energy coming off of Kevin Holland. Okay, so let's get into it.
Hey, listen, I feel like I gotta break the ice in the room real quick off the break.
You don't gotta break no ice.
I do.
I do,
Rampage, because I love you, but I'm a fan of Kevin Holland. I love the way he talks loud.
I'm a fan of his too, but I know. Hey, I know everybody ain't my sense of humor ain't for everybody.
But so, you did this to him. It wasn't needed. I feel like you owe him an apology. He drove 3 hours.
Listen, we already talked about it on the FaceTime. You know what I'm saying? I like to joke around. I don't mean nothing personal with nobody. That's me. That's my sense of humor. Everybody ain't like me and everybody ain't like you. If people, I've learned throughout my life, if people don't like my sense of humor, fuck it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kevin, you could probably appreciate that attitude.
I mean, I guess in a sense, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that for Kev.
Why?
That's usually, if you say fuck it to me, it's usually fuck you. So.
Well, I didn't say fuck you. I said fuck it.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you say fuck it to me, I usually say fuck you.
Well, fuck you too. I don't give a fuck.
And then it's fuck. Yeah. And then it's F it. And then it's F
hey,
you.
Bro,
I like that.
Bro, I got no problem with this cat.
Yeah, I love that.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to beat me whether he like it or not. I'm going to keep being myself and having the sense of humor that God gave me, and it makes me laugh. So I don't give a fuck.
Kevin,
Everything's not funny.
You think Rampage is a funny guy?
Nah, this one has temper tantrum problems.
Temper tantrum problem.
I think he's talking about the Ultimate Fighter and the door.
I don't know what the fuck this.
That's like 10 years ago, Kevin. People evolve.
Thing. Not really.
You don't think people evolve?
Some do. Not Jackson.
No.
All right, now just in this first minute here, I want to point something out. Okay, Bear. Oftentimes I'm almost a little annoyed listening to him. Okay, and sometimes I feel like he does not add much value and is a complete and total casual when it comes to mixed martial arts, but I think I'm beginning to see the value that he brings to the show. He is a top tier instigator. Rampage points out, we already spoke about this on FaceTime, we don't really need to do it here, but Bear is all about that content, and thank God for that, okay, because it gives something for all of us to talk about. But right away you can tell that there's some weird energy coming off of Kevin Holland towards Rampage Jackson. He says, oh, usually when people say fuck it to me, I say fuck you. And I also appreciate Rampage Jackson not backing down. Now, he's not getting overly aggressive, but he's not just going to let Kevin Holland, dictate how this all plays out. He's not just going to bitch out and apologize simply because someone came on his podcast. And when we find out in just a little bit here what this was all over, I think it perfectly illustrates how unbelievably fucking sensitive Kevin Holland truly is, which makes it unbelievably ironic that he said that Rampage Jackson has temper tantrum problems. Okay, let's get to the next clip.
So just to make it very clear, Kevin was going to come on the show. He was very gracious and very honorable to come on the show the first time. And then, Rampage left a little comment on Instagram, which I originally thought was funny, but then I understand where you were coming from.
I understand what
you were fighting MVP. You did this to MVP, which I thought it was a great move, hyped up the fight. Rampage made a joke on Instagram, and then Kevin FaceTime me, said, yo, if I come there, I got to fight. I said, Kevin, we can't do all that. Then we'll just have to reschedule. But I do want to say thank you for coming on the podcast a year later. And you know what? I think Kevin deserves a round of applause from the producing and the team.
Yeah, that's the last thing he want to do is fight me, though. That's the last thing.
I still want to.
No,
I don't give a fuck about the fight on Saturday.
No, you don't want to fight. No.
I'm just being real.
I'm being real with you, young buck. You
I'm
don't
just
want to
letting
fight.
you know.
I'm just letting you know.
It sounds good.
Sometimes people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
You don't want to fight me.
I feel like Kevin.
Sounds good.
You have
okay, now first I want to point out, I absolutely fucking love that Rampage Jackson called him young buck. That was like the ultimate big bro move right there. And we do get to see, or hear rather, the beginning of what I want to talk about later, which is the cope of Kevin Holland, where he says, like, I don't give a fuck about the fight this Saturday. He's already planting the seeds. Okay, this is a theme that we see from Kevin Holland, but as Bear pointed out in that clip there, this was all over a joke leading up to Kevin Holland's fight with Michael Venom Page, and I couldn't figure out what he was talking about, but I eventually found the clip today right before I did this video, and I want to share it with all of you guys because to me it is absolutely fucking pathetic that we are getting this energy, okay, from Kevin Holland towards Rampage Jackson, who is having him on his podcast over.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
So you didn't know? Okay, when he fought MVP does this thing right here, and Kevin Holland reached up and touched his hand like that, and I made a joke, and it wasn't even that funny.
Was it like this one where they do the?
No, that was being funny. I said, "Oh, them touching hands like that reminds me of two women scissoring."
And he got mad at that?
Yeah, come on.
Oh, there's nothing. That's
There's
okay.
nothing, right?
You gotta
So
have
he
some-
said,
especially with a guy that jokes around so much, he should have a better
Yeah, he's
sense of
funny.
humor.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have got to be fucking kidding me. First of all, Rampage Jackson is right. Okay, that joke wasn't that funny because that doesn't even look like two women scissoring. You probably could have came up with a more apt analogy. Okay, but that's what all of this is over, which I thought was absolutely pathetic and embarrassing from Kevin Holland here. Okay, we're gonna get that upset and, you know, essentially try and fight an old dude in Rampage Jackson, an old legend, to be fair, over that. I mean, he didn't even, holy, I've even seen some Reddit posts saying that Rampage Jackson was like unbelievably critical of Kevin Holland's performance against Michael Venom Page. I couldn't even find that. Now, maybe had I listened to the entirety of the podcast where this clip was from, I would have seen that, but Rampage says that that's what the joke was about, and we have seen Bear now make that hand gesture a couple times throughout the course of the podcast up until this point. So I think that is all what it stemmed from, which I thought was absolutely pathetic. Okay, that we are getting this behavior from Kevin Holland. And of course, not to mention, you know, what TJ Dillashaw points out there is absolutely correct. Kevin Holland talks shit to quite literally everybody, like every single person, guys that he's fighting, guys that he's not fighting. I mean, reporters, journalists, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Either way, let's move on to the next.
Hey, Kevin,
Sounds good.
you have a very unique reputation. I'm throwing on one of the new JAXXON ones.
Known
I
for
feel-
fighting everybody.
You're known for
and
fighting
anybody.
at all times.
Don't care who they are.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And I do like the fact that
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that Rampage, I feel, is like the first generation of that. He would take any fight at any time. He's been known for fighting in and out of the cage. Dana White came out and he talked about the fact that he wanted someone and he said, yo, get the loudmouth, bring the loudmouth in. Let's see what he could do. You came in short notice, you put on a show, and then from there, I feel like your career took off. You've been known for talking loud. You talk during the middle of the fights. What is it about your style? What is it about talking during the middle of the fights, the way you're able to keep the energy going that you feel made you the fighter you are?
Nah, I just feel like fights get boring sometimes. There's nothing to do. You know, we're just sitting there. So casual conversation rules the nation. Nothing wrong with having a little conversation with somebody. You know, see what happens. You know, it's like we're just standing there looking at each other.
I think it's an ego problem. That's what I think.
Think it's an ego problem?
That's what I think. You
I don't
say
have-
you.
I don't have much of an ego.
Since we've been honest,
Unless we're sitting across the table and we're both shooting 45-70s, we're trying to see who can hit the target. I don't have much of an ego.
well, I'm
Do you know what a 45-70 is?
I'm just telling.
Do you know what a 45-70
I'm just
is?
telling my opinion. You gave your opinion about my temper tantrum.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you 100%.
Okay, it's an
But
opinion,
I'm just
right?
saying, like, if it's not a 45-70 that we're shooting across the room, trying to see who hits the target, I'm not worried about it. Do you know what a 45-70 is?
No, I don't.
Okay, then shut the fuck up.
You'll tell me shut the fuck up.
All right, now this exchange was so fucking strange to me, but only on Kevin Holland's behalf. Now, Bear asks Kevin, you know, you always talk during fights and this and that, and what is that? And Kevin Holland says that sometimes fights get boring, okay, and that there's nothing to do, so he starts talking. And Rampage, in my opinion, rightly calls this out. This is kind of what I've always thought it was when Kevin Holland talks to his opponents, was an ego thing. Now, there's, of course, you know, the Joaquin Buckley knockout and instances like that that you can point to where he's doing well in a fight while talking to his opponent, but there's also a lot more instances where he's losing. Oftentimes when we see Kevin Holland shit-talking his opponents, it's when he's on his back, okay? And he's got a bigger, stronger man on top of him, and, you know, Kevin Holland says when there's nothing to do, there's quite literally always something to do. It's usually just whether or not you're actually capable of doing that, or if your opponent is just having his way with you. And I think that that's what direction Rampage was gonna take. That was like, no, because we see you start talking shit whenever you're fucking losing, right? So it seems like it's an ego thing. And Kevin Holland goes on this fucking deranged rant about ammunition. Okay, like what the fuck did that have to do with the topic at hand? This was this went on talking about what caliber to use, what caliber, for like 5 fucking minutes, and Rampage was just staring at him blankly. Now I do think that Rampage might not have understood the question, and then you've got, of course, Bear not knowing fucking anything, thinking that you can shoot a 22 round out of an AR-15. But either way, okay, either way, I mean, he's kind of close technically. I mean, not technically, but 223 sounds somewhat similar, I guess. But what the fuck, dude? It was such a strange interaction. And I think it was Cope from Kevin Holland here, that he just got called out on the fact that, you know, usually when he's talking shit in fights, it's an ego thing. And he just, you know, started, I don't have much ego about fighting, but I do have ego about this. You have ego about knowing ammunition? I mean, what the fuck? Okay? Very strange. Either way, let's move on to the next clip.
Did you read that comment before the fight or after the fight?
I don't even know.
Right.
I don't think I read the comment.
Oh, somebody said
So how'd you find out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, someone sent it to you?
Yeah.
But is it, were you just, I gotta just clear the air on this one. Were you upset that he left a comment like that? Or you're just upset that
Don't play with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Play with
you're-
somebody else. Don't play with me.
But you seem like a guy who loves to play around.
Oh
You
yeah, I
always-
do.
So why take it out on Rampage? He's a legend.
Like I said, you could. I like playing around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm a
why-
player
Why
around.
you say some people
But you're
can
not
dish out, but
playing
you
with
can't
me.
take it.
Yeah, why you could dish it all that?
Oh yeah, I can take it. I just don't know you like that. You get what I'm saying?
I feel you. I feel you.
I
like
feel
at
that's
all,
a respectable
in a sense.
answer.
Yeah, I feel
You know?
him. I feel
If
him.
there's anything we could say about him, he stands on business.
Yeah, 100%.
There's 50 fighters in this
Hey,
place.
hey,
Like if
Walked
you
in
were one
with-
of the OGs of the gym, you said something. I mean, I eat it. It's okay. It's like, you know, if I had met you already at the PI or you'd been around and I was like, yeah, I already met Rampage. Rampage is a cool dude. He do whatever the fuck he want to do. That's Rampage. I don't know you in that sense. So playing with me is like, who the fuck?
Well, it's social media. I play with everybody.
Yeah.
I play everybody.
What-
People troll me. I troll people. It's like the world we live in. It's social
Yeah, but
media.
I don't really troll people until they troll me.
Well, that's fine.
Then I just want smoke.
But
You know what I mean?
but you and I are not the same person though.
Yeah, I
Every-
mean,
and
I
everybody
don't want
not
to be
like
the
you.
same person as you.
Same here. I don't
You know
want
what
to. I don't want to be the same person as you, brother.
But I feel like you got
All right, now I find it hilarious that he didn't even read the fucking comment. So I don't even know if he knows what was said. And considering what we saw earlier, what this is all over. We're like 20 minutes into this podcast, by the way. I just think it's even more pathetic to find out that he didn't even read it himself, and he doesn't even know whether or not it was after he lost the fight. Now, I would be willing to wager that it was after he lost, and he was probably feeling extremely sensitive. I just find it very strange that he brings this kind of energy to a guy who we know is retired, right? He does not have this energy for Sean Strickland, okay? And Sean Strickland is an active fighter who fights at middleweight, which is a weight class that Kevin Holland has fought at. But when he gets asked about Sean Strickland later on in the podcast, it's, oh, well, no, you know, we already talked that out and whatever. That shit's all good. That shit's all good. But when it comes to a guy who's, you know, in his 40s, didn't have the best ending of his career, and, you know, is a podcaster, he's more than willing to put on this gangster act, tough guy act, you know, standing, and by the way, in a podcast studio where he knows that if a fight breaks out, it's going to be broken up in fucking 3 seconds. Okay? Somebody in my chat, in my live stream chat, said that Kevin Holland wants to be Deadpool so badly, in the sense that he wants to have that kind of humor. He wants to be that cool, okay, organically. And it's just, he just ain't it. Okay, just ain't it. But either way, let's continue. We only got a couple more clips
The joke
here.
was like
I don't think so. MVP's not like me.
right.
Wait, hold on. We're gonna stop right there. MVP is not like you. What is MVP like? You fought him.
He's a really nice guy.
Oh, he
Hell
is.
of a fighter too.
You think he's good?
We're just different people. You know.
Yeah, I never met him before either.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You honestly during the fight said you thought he was gonna win the fight.
Hell yeah, I was rooting for him.
I don't think that'll bother MVP either. And
No.
it's a competition guy. He likes competition. Me personally, I could care less about it.
What about that style that he fights? That bouncing, that kind of
It's wonderful. Hate being in front of him. It's a wonderful style to watch. I like it.
Really?
I enjoy the fuck out of MVP. I've always been a fan of MVP.
How did you train for a guy like that?
Oh, I just didn't do anything different at all. Same thing I always do. Show up to the gym, and just train.
Did you have a guy moving in and out like that?
No reason to do all that. Coaches bring people in, say, hey, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. As soon as coach ain't looking, I'm like, do what you normally do. No reason. I don't care about all that.
Really?
Yeah, just fight's a fight.
So what
And
about...
plus, you're not going to be able to do what MVP does. So you...
Kevin, why is it that you, in my opinion, I feel like you don't care about the belt, you don't care about chasing the belt, you just want to fight 24/7. Why is it? Why do you have that attitude?
I mean, there's just too many politics that come with being like, even really when you're ranked, if I'm being honest. It's like every time you get this number next to your name, then all of a sudden they start talking about the belt. And if you get to a belt, they can't stop talking about a belt. And it's like right now I am in a good spot. I get to live my life the way I want to live my life, Monday through fucking Friday. Every once in a while people see me and they know how I am. So they don't give me a hard time. If I'm not with the family, they'll get a picture. We'll be cool, we'll be chill. It's just, casual conversation. Everything's very casual. It's like if you were the champ and you're, even if you're top 5, you're top 5, top 10, you're a contender, you're looking to become a champ, you're supposed to hold yourself a certain way to be the champ, right? Like, people are supposed to be able to look up to you. Don't nobody gotta look up to me. I'm just a fucking athlete showing up, doing my job, and I'm really a barbaric motherfucker. I'm fighting, right? So you don't have to look up to me. And that's how I want it. I just want to be able to step in, do my thing, step out, be okay. If I get a fucking belt, I got 1 million+ followers. There's nowhere you can go where people don't know who you are. You can't walk through Walmart with a regular hat on, get away with stuff. You just can't do anything. It's like...
Okay, so we're getting back to what we briefly touched on earlier in the video, which is, in my opinion, Kevin Holland's cope about his own career. Okay, he kind of, briefly brings it up when he says that Michael Venom Page and him are not the same because MVP cares about competition, but he doesn't care about it at all. And then point blank, Bear asks him why he doesn't care about the belt, which I want to point out, and we're going to play this clip in just a little bit, is funny because the last time Kevin Holland was asked that question, he had a very different energy about him, very different response that we're going to go over. But he gave this unbelievably long-winded answer about how he doesn't care about the belt because of all that comes with it, and he just wants to live a simple life and yada, yada, yada. And I just, man, I'm not in his head, so I don't know, but this to me just always comes off as cope. And like I said, this is a theme that we see from Kevin Holland where he'll be losing a fight and he starts goofing off, right? The trash talk that we were talking about earlier, and the Brunson fight, and the Vettori fight, even in the MVP fight a little bit. When he starts losing, it's like a coping mechanism to stop trying so that he can at the very least say, oh, well, I don't really give a fuck about that. I wasn't trying or something, right? Or we get the injuries, which, by the way, I'm not even convinced that his rib broke in that fight. But also, if we take a look at the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight, right, he still brings up the broken hand issue, whereas Stephen Wonderboy Thompson had 2 broken hands, and one of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's hands was worse than Kevin Holland's hand, okay? And he was still fine to continue. So it does, and and then you get Kevin Holland calling out Reiner de Ritter for being a quitter at his media day. And it's just very strange behavior. And I do believe that when he goes on about not caring about this and that and this and that, it is a coping mechanism. Okay, and I'm not trying to be shitty and shit on Kevin Holland, but I am trying to point out that I don't think he's championship material. So it's almost like an irrelevant question to begin with. But you could just say that, there are guys with a lot more self-awareness than Kevin Holland who know that they're not going to be a champion and are like, yeah, but I still want to make money and fight and whatever. Who gives a fuck? Whereas he's got this weird thing like, I don't really care about that. I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. What fucking guy gets into MMA, to professional MMA, and doesn't want to be the champion? Okay. It's very, very strange. But let's get to that clip of the last time he got asked this very question.
Why are you not focused on the belt? Like, why is that something that doesn't...
Why are you guys so focused on the fucking belt all the time? Like,
Well, I
excuse my language, but why are you so focused on the belt? I just told you I'm not worried about the belt, then you go back and repeat, ask me about the belt. Like, I'm not worried about the belt. Why are you so worried about the belt? You don't even fight for a living. Why are you so worried about the belt?
Well, I'm not worried. I don't fight.
I'm not worried about it either. Why are you so worried about it?
That's why I'm asking. Well,
I'm not worried about it.
say it
That's the ultimate answer you need. I'm not worried about it. Why are you so worried about it?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking you because you say you know you want the big paydays, and usually that comes with pay-per-view points and whatnot. So you would assume that the big
Maybe I'm already getting pay-per-view points.
maybe.
You don't know, right?
Sure.
True. All right.
All right. Lastly,
All right, now that clip, in my opinion, is amazing. Okay, it perfectly illustrates both his sensitivity and his cope towards his own career. And, you know, it's very strange that he had that energy for that reporter. Yet when Bear asks him the very same question, he's completely mellow and calm about it and gives this long-winded answer, even though just earlier in the episode, he was like ready to fight Rampage Jackson, rocking back and forth like he had full-blown autism. Okay, it's very, very strange to me, and it also makes me think that he just kind of arbitrarily chooses who he wants to have issues with. There's no real rhyme or reason for it whatsoever. Okay, now I do wish this reporter just followed up with one quick rebuttal, and you could kind of see at this most recent media day for UFC 311, a lot of the media members were kind of just glazing Kevin Holland and trying to be all buddy, and I feel like it's because of this moment. They kind of feel like they have to walk on eggshells around him. But this reporter, I wish he just said, I know you don't get pay-per-view points because this isn't a pay-per-view card, Kevin. Because it wasn't, right? It was a fight night card. But either way, very strange to me. This whole episode was very strange to me. I saw a comment left on Rampage Jackson's podcast that said Kevin Holland is speed running dislikability, and I feel like that is absolutely true. You know, he used to be a guy that fans really fucking got behind because he was willing to fight constantly. He would move up and down weight classes. He, for the most part, would have entertaining fights, and when it wasn't an entertaining fight, it was usually because his opponent didn't want to have an entertaining fight. But now, seems like he, you know, is just slowly losing the fans' support over situations like this one, like the podcast and all the rest of it. But either way, dude, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you guys think that Kevin Holland is coping about his career? Do you think he's oversensitive? Or do you think that Rampage Jackson was out of line, making a very fucking, you know, pathetic excuse for a joke, if we're being quite honest? Either way, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.